lawful wedded husband.
To be my...
Barbara not Barbara Jean's heart. With a tramp like you?
Well, I know it hurts being third rate, but aren't you accustomed to it yet?
Oh, Robin, I see you. I myself the slut of Springfield!
Son of a bitch in heat.
I found out myself what love is all about.
Hey everybody, it's me, Nikki. Listen, some people might be upset about what Tracy said to Carly, and some people might be upset about Tracy not budging about them kids. But I have to agree with Tracy on keeping the kids in the house. And, some points she made towards Carly, I wholeheartedly agree with. Okay, there was blame to go around with everything that happened when it came to Michael. But let's get into this whole Willow situation. Willow is down at the hospital, and obviously now she's gone to see Michael, and it's just like you took your sweet time going to see Michael. You took your absolute sweet time going to see Michael. Not like he your husband or anything. Not like he saved your ass or anything. Oh yeah, that's right. You never actually cared about the man. But she down there being the weeping willow she is. Willard get on my nerves at this point. I'm about done with whole stupid ass. Anyway, she's like, Nina, is there any update about the kids? No, Tracy's not budging. And Tracy shouldn't budge. You are erratic behavior. You took your kids and you left. And then you left one kid with the nanny and took the other one out of state. Girl, what do you do that? Just so you can fuck their great uncle in a hotel room. Next door. Oh my God. Ugh. Ew. So Nina informs her that, hey, Tracy ain't budging. And Wiley and Amelia are still at the Quartermains. And she was like, well, I'm not going to budge. If I can't see my kids and if I can't have my kids, then Carly and Sonny can't have access to Michael. And it's just like, first of all, Carly did what Michael would have wanted her to do. And that's to get the kids and put them in a safe space. And that's at the Quartermains. That is what happened. You, on the other hand, are being spiteful and hateful and just absolutely downright despicable because you ain't getting what you want and Drew has manipulated your mind and now you're listening to Drew. Drew said this and Drew said that. Drew said this is the only leverage I have, and you're keeping them away from their son when quite possibly this could be the last time they see their son, when you also know, because you were in town when Morgan died, everything they went through when Morgan passed away. Like, you are being just disgusting right now. Willow, you know how they felt when Morgan died. You saw what Carly went through when it came to Nell. You saw that. You saw all of that. Michael told you how everybody felt when it came to Morgan passing away. You know all these things, and yet you were still going at them and still doing this because Drew, aka Shiloh, has told you this is how things need to be, and your stupid ass is following along. She get on my damn nerves. I can't, and I won't, because the safest place for Wiley and Amelia to be at this time is at the Quartermains. It's not to be with Sonny. It's not to be with Carly. It's not to be with Nina. It's damn sure not to be with you or Drew, because he's really Shiloh, and who knows what he gonna do to them children. Child, he put them children, like, he could leave the children out in the cold, not caring. Well, Amelia, because, y'all left her with the nanny while y'all took Wiley across state lines, when, in general, neither one of, that child does not belong to you biologically whatsoever. Legally, because you adopted him, but that adoption was not for you to snatch him up out of his familial home, away from his father, away from his grandparents, his great-grandparents, his families, his aunts, his uncle, his great-aunts, his great-uncles, his cousin. That's not what that adoption was meant for. But so she's still saying, well, they can't see Michael. And Nina was like, I'm worried about you. The things you're saying. Michael is their son, and he's hurt. And obviously you are desperate for Wiley and Amelia, but at what cost? Your soul, your heart, your mind, your relationships with these people. Like, at the end of the day, y'all gonna have to be cool as a cucumber when it comes to these kids. So you doing this as leverage to get Wiley and Amelia, is that at the detriment of burning every single bridge with everybody? Is that what we gonna do? That's what she wants to do. I saw somebody say, why didn't Michael just say, or, Carly or Sunny say, you can have the kids, but you need to stay on the estate. She wasn't going to stay on the estate because Drew is no longer allowed or welcomed on the estate. That's why she wouldn't do it. And her and the kids have been at Nina's since before Christmas. They spent Christmas there. Michael didn't spend Christmas with his children. He didn't ring in the New Year with his children because we skipped over Christmas and the New Year at the Quartermains. That didn't happen. We also skipped over Thanksgiving. It's weird. And Nina says, you don't have to be, she's trying to remind her, you don't have to be cruel as you're doing this. And Willow's like, she knows, and she doesn't care. And she says, like Drew says, this is the only leverage I have. And she keeps repeating, Drew said this, and Drew said that, and Drew said this, and Drew said that. Carly already pointed it out that Drew is manipulative. And now Nina is becoming more aware of just how manipulative the Drew lookalike, aka Shiloh, is. And she's like, do you hear yourself? Drew's advice, Drew said this, Drew is right. Are you allowed to make your own choices? Please be so fucking for real right now. And she was like, well, her choice is to fight for her children, and I can't believe that you want me. No, she said her choice is to fight for her children. And she was like, you can fight for your kids and still be yourself. You don't have to be manipulated into doing what Drew wants you to do, because ultimately this Drew lookalike, this wannabe Drew, I'm telling y'all now, it's Shiloh is trying to do this to stick it to the Quartermains because they were able to maneuver the shares that Oscar left of ELQ to him up out of his grasp. She was like, you could be yourself, that warm, compassionate woman that I'm proud to call my daughter. You could be yourself in this entire thing. And she's trying to get this point home. And she's like, I can't believe you would side with them. I can't believe you want me to bow down to them. And she's like, no, I want you to, you show compassion. Show some empathy. Empathize with him. Y'all are both in the same position. They're being kept from their child, and they are being kept away from him by you. The same way that you are being kept away from your children by them. Everybody's suffering. Nobody's doing anything good. I mean, the kids ain't suffering because they at the Quartermains. But everybody, the adults are suffering in this situation. Lay down your weapons, and maybe they'll lay down theirs, and maybe y'all can have real conversations. Did you ever think about that? So, in no particular order, because she's not thinking about anything. It's all about what Drew wants and what Drew needs, and Drew said this, and Drew said that, and Drew. And I'm getting tired of her and Drew. Willow is on my last nerve. You could have had your entire life taken care of. I would have understood if you wouldn't have slept with Drew and you found out that Michael slept with Sasha and got her pregnant. I would have understood you being angry and wanting to keep the kids away. But you slept with him, carried on an affair, and then proceeded to take Michael's son across state lines to put him in a hotel room with Scout while you screwed her father in the next room. You have no sympathy here. Not over here, you don't. Because Michael and Sasha weren't right for sleeping with each other either. And Michael would have told you the truth and probably would have still told you the truth had you not gone running off to protect Drew and clean him up because Nina requested it. So after, Nina said, lay down your weapons and maybe they'll lay down theirs, Chase comes in. Brooklyn's at her fertility, testing thing because she's worried about a possible teen pregnancy being the reason why she can't get pregnant, and that's why. And it's just like, girl, be so fucking for real right now. That ain't it. Nina leaves Chase and Willow to talk, and Willow is like, I'm wondering how I got into this mess. You know how you got into this mess. Well, no, you really don't know how you got into this mess. So since you don't know how you got here, let me tell you how you got here. You had this hero worship of Drew because you believed he helped save your life by bringing Liesel back to give you bone marrow, when in reality he was knocked out and really didn't do a damn thing. But he got her back, and everybody just let you believe that he was this amazing hero, right? Eventually, Jason comes back and Drew dumps Carly because he feels some type of way about Jason being back because he felt like she was always going to choose him, which then makes me once again believe that this is Shiloh. This is Shiloh. He didn't get chose by Sam. Sam tricked him, and then he felt the way about it. This Shiloh also wanted to send Scout off to boarding school. Who knows what would happen to her with him in charge? Anyway, Nina decides she wants a relationship with you, but because her and Michael had been fighting, and Michael's whole thing was, I don't want you around my wife, I don't want you around my kids, especially after this whole sex thing. You went off on him, you checked him, boom, Michael got his life in order. But Nina, because she wanted to be around you, decided to go to Drew and have him push up on you or try to push his way into your life so she could then push her way into your life. And this hero worship relationship of him got even deeper to the point where you two were having an emotional affair because you felt like he was the only person who related to you. He was the only person you could talk to, that he was just your one and only, that really only understood you. He was your person. I'm telling you now, he's not your person. He was manipulating you from the beginning. So then you eventually kiss, not once but twice, and then you get upset about everybody who knows about the kiss and is told about the kiss, when in reality, little baby James heard all of that stuff and told Ned. Okay, told him, sure did. Sure did. And eventually when it comes out, when Ned is trying to blackmail Drew, you decide to tell your husband, but then Drew tells your husband. So your husband goes off and gets white boy wasted at the bar, and him and Sasha have a one night stand. They decide to let it go, but he decides, I'm gonna be honest with you. And when he says, I want to be honest, I'm gonna tell you everything, you tell me everything, and we just go forward from here and just forgive each other. Before he could truly be honest with you and wanted you to stay and talk, here comes Nina running down to the gatehouse to come help have you come patch up Drew. Are we also not forgetting you decided to become a nurse, not because you're like, oh my God, helping people is so amazing, I forgot how amazing it was, but honestly you were trying to get away from Drew because you felt like it was going too far. You go and patch him up. Y'all are flirting. Y'all have whatever sexual chemistry y'all claim to have, which isn't true, but okay. Rolling around like two raw chicken cutlets. Eventually, Sam passes away, and y'all use that as an excuse to have sex on the floor of the nursery and unintentionally make a sex tape, which gets revealed on Christmas Eve at the Christmas party. And now you are trying to gaslight, manipulate Michael like you were gaslighted and manipulated in that cult to blame him for it, and you take off with the kids, and you don't want to have a conversation with him. Nina sends separation papers to Michael and custody papers as well, and you just go along with it, once again being manipulated, and you're just okay with it. And when Drew asked you to take Wiley across state lines to go to DC, you were like, yeah, because you would be a good role model to him, and it's just like he has a father who's a good role model. But okay, you're trying to cut him up out of Wiley's life. You proceed to go to DC and have sex with this man while your son is in the next room. Oh yeah, this is how you got here. But since you don't want to take that, we have to go down memory lane. And if I'm missing anything, y'all let me know. And she was like, I can't believe Nina was questioning whether, I was thinking for myself or letting Drew make all my decisions. And Chase said, are you? And Willow starts crying like she always does because she don't have no other emotion but cry. And she was like, I don't know, everything is upside down. And she's like, everything is upside down based off the choices that you made that were kind of forced upon you by Drew and Nina, but you still made the choice to sleep with that man. Ugh. And Chase is like, listen, I'll be your friend. And it's just like, Chase, you get the hell away from that lady before Brooklyn really comes down here and rains hell all over your life. And she's like, I really need a friend. So she opens up to him and she's like, maybe my involvement with Dawn of Day and Shiloh, makes me have, leaves me with this desire or compulsion to be rescued. And I've literally jumped from savior to savior. And it was just like, oh, look at who's being self-aware. We love self-awareness. Like, I'm self-aware that sometimes I could be a mean bitch. I'm aware of that. I own that. And sometimes I am my own worst critic. I am. I own that. Sometimes I'll record a few reviews of General Hospital, be like, I don't like it. And that didn't sound good. Let me just go ahead and get rid of it. I own that. But, at least she has a moment of self-awareness. And then here comes Chase saying, I don't think that's what it is. And it's like, no, that's exactly what it is. You were her savior from You were her savior from Shiloh. And then eventually Michael was her savior from Shiloh, and her, possibility of being able to have a connection with her son, only for that son to not actually be her son. So she jumps to him. And then she jumps back to you, and then back to him, and now she's on to Drew. But it started with Shiloh. Shiloh was her initial savior until he wasn't. And Chase is like, oh, I don't see it that way at all. And she's like, maybe you're just searching for a sense of family that you never had. And it's just like, she had a family. She had her family. She would have continued to have her family had she not started an emotional affair and took it physical with Drew. She had Michael, she had Wiley, she had Amelia, she had Sunny, she had Carly, she had Christina, Donna, Avery, all of the Quartermains. And she had Nina. She was building a relationship with Nina. She had that. It's not that she was searching for a family. Everybody can say it's because Willow is searching for a family. That's not what it is. Willow likes to be saved. She likes to feel like someone's saving her, and she likes for someone to come and save her. And when she doesn't have that anymore and things get just a little bit stale for her, she has to move on to the next thing. That's why it was so easy for her when everything went down between her and Nina, when it came to her being a teacher. It was so easy for her to be like, you know what, I'll move on and I'll try something else with my career. And she moved on to being a nurse. Because she not only likes to be saved, but she also likes to be taken care of. She stopped being a nurse, not just because she had leukemia, but because her husband was taking care of her. And she decided not to go back because she had that job down to Aurora with the foundation. But then was like, I gotta leave. I might be biased, but Willow's on my last nerve. And Chase, stop trying to help her. But you are right. She don't need Michael or Drew. She needs to find herself. She truly needs to find herself and figure out what's going to be best for Wiley and Amelia. As their mother, you know what that is. And what that is not this BS that you are doing, and is not being with Drew and trying to make him the father of your children. It's the fact that she is trying to basically excommunicate Michael out of their lives is crazy to me. And the same for Drew, trying to just make Scout forget about Sam and doing everything Sam said not to do, which once again, I believe this is Shiloh. So Willow thanks, Chase for being a friend and calming her down and giving her a chance to think. And I'm seeing things clearly. It's not up to Nina or Drew to decide what's best for my family. It's up to me. So we get to Tracy, and Tracy lays into Carly, and I have no problem with that. Carly is like, listen, I want to see my grandkids, which Tracy did open the door calmly and told her grandkids were upstairs. But Carly barged in, she does this. And you barge in only to receive sympathy. So now you got to shut down. And she's like, listen, we're all worried for Michael. We're praying for his swift recovery. But I don't like the fact that Wiley and Amelia are being used as bargaining chips. And, when Carly basically says the kids should be with their mother, Tracy's like, oh, that's rich. And it's like, you took them in the first place. And Carly admitted that, it was true, but she never expected to go off the rails like this. And Tracy's like, I don't care. Those kids are safe and sound and right where they need to be and where Monica wants them. And that's where they're going to stay. And Tracy is going to ride or die for Monica. Because even though they've had their knockout, drag out fights, at the end of the day, they family. And we don't play about family. And Carly is explaining to Tracy that Michael has a chance to get into a special burn facility, but they couldn't transfer him there with Willow holding Michael hostage, basically causing him to be in more pain because she's being selfish, which is true. If you wanted your kids, you would have been at home with your children. You wouldn't have been off gallivanting with Drew doing everything and who knows what. You wouldn't have been doing that. Because initially, that is why Michael filed for divorce and wanted full custody after you decided to take the kids across state lines. Even though after you were served, he was still like, I don't want to fight like me and, like Sonny and Carly did over him in Morgan. And Carly is like, what if it was Ned? And how far would you go to help him? And Tracy was like, listen, I would go as far as I had to, but I'm not giving you them kids. And she was like, listen, she'll make the best choice for Michael's care. She will, which we doubt. Willow would let that man die if it really came down to it. And she was like, listen, Willow does not have the connections that her and Sonny do, and to get the care that Michael needs. And, that's all fine and well and good, but then Carly proceeds to piss Tracy off by pulling the Monica card. And she asks, wouldn't Monica want her grandson to be treated by the best? And Tracy loses it, and she starts to go in on Carly. And she says, not once have you ever spared a moment of consideration for Monica. That woman's life was never the same the moment you stepped foot in town. It was like, well, Bobby's life was never the same once Carly stepped foot in town. Monica's life got turned upside down because of them not wanting Michael to be around the Quartermaines, specifically Edward and AJ, fear of AJ trying to use Michael to get in good with Edward, at ELQ, and also the fact that AJ held, basically faked Michael's death after he kidnapped him. There was the pushing Carly down the stairs, or some people say, Carly let go, that's what happened. And, all the torture that went back and forth between Michael, Sonny, Carly, AJ, and a little bit of Jason. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to all four parents, Jason was the only one who truly kept Michael safe. I'm gonna keep it real. But listen, Tracy ain't wrong. And Tracy ain't wrong. And Carly's like, she can't believe you want to dredge up old history now. But baby, we gotta dredge it up. Because at the end of the day, Monica was cost years with Michael. You wouldn't let Monica see Michael. You wouldn't let any of the Quartermaines interact with Michael. And if we be honest, the loss of AJ happened that second time due to Sonny. And while, I sympathize with you and everything as a mother, I remind you put this family through a lot over the years. So tell me what you want me to do, which is not to give up them kids, because it's not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you what I told Sonny. Find another way. And, Carly gives up and she leaves, and she's like, this isn't over. However you envision this ending, I guarantee you're wrong. And, Carly wanted to go see the kids, but Tracy was like, no, they good. They got study sessions. They got to read their books. They are having enrichment. Yeah, it's not the time. So Tracy sits down with a cup of tea, and Chase comes into the house, and he's like, listen, this has to stop. You can't keep Wiley and Amelia away from Willow. And it's just like, oh, Chase, you're stepping up. Be so fucking for real right now. You are not Willow's savior. It's not going to work. Willow is being erratic. And I know that you're a friend or whatever, and at one point you loved her, but the bitch is crazy. She done lost her motherfucking mind. So Carly gets back to the hospital, and she approaches Willow outside of Michael's room, and she's like, you wanted to see me? And Willow told her they need to talk about Michael. Now, Trina is over there talking to, Ava about the whole financial situation, and Ava's noticed that she's distracted, and she's like, as my friend and as my assistant, what's going on with you? And she tells her about Kai's football injury, and she's worried that, he has a serious injury to his throwing arm. And she was like, why don't you go and check on him? So when Trina leaves, Nina comes in, and she updates Ava about everything that's going on with Willow and Michael. And Ava is like, I understand what Michael is going through, because I had the same thing happen to me. And there's definitely going to be some physical and psychological scars. And, Ava was surprised that Nina's heart went out to Michael. And that Nina was shocked by, Willow's behavior. And, she's like, I don't believe, she's shocked by Willow's behavior. And she's like, I don't bit more believe that, she's refusing Carly and Sonny access to their own son. That don't sound like, Willow. That don't sound like her style. And she was like, it's not. It's Drew's idea. Willow's life is in shambles, and it's all Drew's fault. And he's constantly in her ear with this inexplicable power over her, and it's because it's Shiloh. Why won't y'all understand when I say this? The reason why Drew has been able to manipulate her this entire time the way he does is because it's Shiloh. And he knows exactly what to say and what to do to truly get at Willow. Now, had she gone to therapy and actually worked this out, she wouldn't be going through this. And, it was like, I can't believe she listened to everything he said. And Nina starts listing everything off, and she's listing everything Drew said and everything Willow has done that's completely out of character. And she was like, listen, I'm the last one to defend Carly on anything, but I can understand her outrage for Willow to be inconsiderate and brazen and have this kind of hold on Michael and keep him away from his family, this is the kind of hold that a man has on her, and it's destroying her life. And this is when Ava gives Nina the advice that we've all been giving Nina since the very beginning, before they were even sleeping with each other, when they were just kissing each other. Tell her who he really is. Tell her the truth. Tell her that while Drew was falling in love with her, he was screwing you. Tell her. Tell her. Oh my God. What part of tell her don't y'all understand? Stella visits Kai. She brings, some flowers, and he's happy to see her. He's smiling, and he tells Stella that he dislocated his shoulder, but that wouldn't bring him down. And Stella's, they're talking, and Kai has to admit that he's a little sad because he felt like he let his teammates down. It's just like, friend, you didn't let your teammates down. People get hurt every day, but they do. But Kai's glad to see Trina when she show up, and he tells her, listen, I have physical therapy. My shoulder is going to be good as new. And, Trina let him know I watched your game and everything. And it was like, oh, that's so cute. And he was like, well, it was the best I ever felt on the field. The injury was a disaster, but it can't erase what it was like to play at that level. It was just like, oh, that's so cute. It's so cute. I love it for them. So we get on to Brooklyn and her fertility test, and then she lets Dr. Navarro know, listen, I had a healthy previous pregnancy as a teen, but I gave the baby up for adoption. Dr. Navarro said teen pregnancy, didn't think teen pregnancy would cause her not to be able to get pregnant now. So, boom, we all know this. We in the clear. We're good. Now, Cody has a hangover. Gio is down there helping with him in the stalls. Dante comes in, and he leaves them to chat. But, pay the man first. Pay Gio first since he helped you and everything. And Dante is frustrated by Lulu, just reading his text and refusing to respond. And Dante's telling Cody what happened in Prague, and this is why Lulu's furious at me, and she blames me for Valentine taking off with Charlotte, and now I'm not sure if she'll ever forgive me. And it's just like, it's not your fault. Cody is like, she'll forgive you in time, and just don't try to take over the search for Charlotte. It's gonna piss her off even more. And remember, she's headstrong. And she reminds me of another headstrong girl they went to camp with together. Okay? Brooklyn. Which means y'all are going to make it seem like Brooklyn and Dante have a son. I see it already. So Gio opened the stable doors to, tell Cody a woman was there to see him, and Selena Rue comes in. And he was like, listen, I'm no longer a gameplay man. And Selena left, and Dante was wondering, was she really there to collect? And it's just like, at the end of the day, Dante, we all know that it was actually Lulu's fault as to why the people followed her there, because they figured they follow Valentine. To follow Valentine and figure out where he is, follow Lulu, because Charlotte was going to reach out. Why? Because that was the obvious choice. And the sniper went to sniping, and even though the sniper didn't get to snipe who they wanted, they still had eyes on him, so that's not big of a problem. But it's giving like Gio is Dante and Brooklyn's son. And yeah, Brooklyn and Lulu are kind of the same. No lies told. Cody, you done lost all your damn money. That's so sad. Maybe you could use the video. Maybe you get a hold of video, sell it, and get your money up. Maybe you could do that. So Alexis comes, Alexis and Curtis are at an AA meeting, and they're there early, and she's surprised to see him there. He was like, I wasn't happy with the habits I've been picking up as of late, and he felt like he needed a meeting. And Alexis took the opportunity to just question Curtis about Drew, because she's worried about Scout, and she didn't think that Drew could take good care of Scout now, because he's already gone against Sam's wishes, and he moved Scout away from Danny and Rocco, and Sam would hate that. Of course she would. And Drew is like, listen, not Drew. Curtis is like, listen, Drew has made some very questionable moves as of lately, and I advise you to spend as much time with Scout as possible, especially because Drew is possibly falling in love with DC power and could be taking Scout to live with him. And Alexis was like, that's not a fight he gonna win. And it was like, hell no, that's not a fight he gonna win. You better get your granddaughter. Like, Rocco and Danny are safe at the Quartermains, and Jason is there, so you know they're extra safe. You don't have to worry about Danny. But Scout, seeing as that's not her real daddy, that's Shiloh, he doing X, Y, and Z, doing way too motherfucking much. You need to go ahead and gather your granddaughter up quick, fast, in a hurry. And don't forget, this man told you that maybe Willow will be what's best for Scout, and she will probably be a better. I'm just gonna put words in his mouth. She basically told you to your face that Willow would be a better mother for your daughter, his daughter, your granddaughter, than your own daughter was. That's basically what he said to your face. It's time to drop the Alexis Davis and pick up the Natasha Cassadine and show these hoes who they really messing with, because they don't want it. They really don't want it. But with that being said, this was more of a whole bunch of a recap and really just going down the history of everything. But Tracy, when you're right, girl, and I can't be mad at you for eating Carly up. You know, it needed to be said. It truly needed to be said. Think about all the knockout, drag out fights Monica and Carly had over the years. That's crazy. It truly is. But with that being said, remember, Jason is Michael's real daddy, and he's the only one out of his 4 parents that really kept him protected at all times. At all times. Okay, he never kidnapped him and faked his death. He never was carrying on with a woman, and when somebody was aiming a gun at him to snipe him, he didn't decide to protect the woman and not his kid. He wasn't messing, he didn't do everything that Carly did, with the husbands and the issues. Like, Michael, I feel bad for you because you're not going to be here, but I know your real daddy going to try to help you get, somewhere safe. And with that being said, Willow is just awful. Drew is awful. Nina is possibly moving away from the fuck around to find out and probably trying to get her life in order. And with that being said, that was it. That was all I want to give y'all. That was it for Dim Soaps. This was a GH recap. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and share me with your people. And please, for the love of God, get Ava her money back because I don't have time for this. But Ava was being truthful with Nina. Tell her the truth. And with that being said, I'll see y'all for the next one. Bye.